Cool. So welcome everybody to another live edition of Making You a Bartending Pro. My name is Jason, and on these Tuesday live streams, no agenda. We just talk about whatever, open format Q&A, and we'll chill out for a minute while we wait for everyone to show up here. Usually takes a couple minutes. Cheers, everybody. Bella Queen, what's up? Pura Jersey, or is it Pura Jersey? Pura Jersey, trying to take a break. We're trying to break into the industry as a woman in her late 40s. Any advice? Yes, Miss Jersey. Even in your 40s, you're still, I don't know, you're kind of starting to get onto that line where you kind of have to be a little more cognizant about where you're applying to. But you're still young enough that you should have most options available to you. So what I usually tell people that are maybe a little bit, they're not 21, 22, like just coming into this as super young person in the game. One of the things I always tell people is that you basically want to look for where the clientele and the customers of the establishment and the bar that you are applying to or want to work at is similar to your own age range, right? So if you're, just for a huge, broad example, if you're in your 60s or 70s trying to go into like a really hot nightclub where they only hire people in their 20s or 30s maybe, it's going to be a challenge. Doesn't mean it's impossible, but it's going to be a little more challenging. Likewise, if you're super young in your early 20s and you're just brand new to this and you try to go into a fine dining restaurant where the clientele is a little more mature, has a little more just kind of general life experience, it's going to be challenging for you to get into a situation like that. So for you, Pura, just call you Jersey. I'm just gonna call you Jersey. You want to find someone, someplace, somewhere where it matches. So for you, good stuff is like restaurants, fine dining, hotel bars, where it's a little more, your average clientele has a little bit more life experience, if you know what I mean. My man, Shake, how you doing? And yes, welcome everybody. There is no format to these. We just kind of roll along. We don't have to talk about bartending, although we usually do. I'm actually I think I'm gonna change the music. We've been rocking Gangstar channel for a few weeks here. Can you tell I don't listen to it on my computer much in between these? What do you feel like? Let's listen to some oldies. Just kind of feeling like some oldies lately. So, there you go, Jersey. Hopefully that helps. Jenny Clementine Mello. Hey, new to this whole new bartending work. It's so cool. You're so good on explaining how everything works. Thank you, Jenny. Try my best. Basically just shoot from the hip of what experience I have over my 15 plus years of doing this for sure. Dead Mouse Fanatic 1, been watching your videos for a while, love them, thank you very much. My man Shake, cheers. All right, that's my man Shake, he's gonna be helping moderate. Deja, what's up girl? Welcome back. Luis Salazar, hola. Hola amigo, ¿cómo estás? Muy bien. I hope. Dead Mouse Fanatic 1, just moved to Vegas 6 months ago, got hired as a bar porter. I'm doing road paving. I was doing road paving before this. Nice. Dead Mouse Fanatic, that sounds like a good upgrade in funness, the fun level, the fun scale, the scale of fun on your job. So what else is going on? Anybody else out there get a job? lose a job, see anything crazy in a bar you want to talk about, see the crazy drunk guy get thrown out, see some couples freak out and break up in a bar, or see any good music. It's generally kind of the North America here in the States, it's kind of all year round, but especially in the summertime, it's concert season. So concerts are going on. We were at a music fest this weekend that we sponsored for the company that I work for here in Central Oregon. It's Four Peaks Music Festival, which is kind of like a bluegrass, which is not really a genre of music I'm familiar with. I have no idea. I've never really listened to a lot of that stuff. But there were some pretty badass musicians that I saw this weekend, so that was fun. Then the week before that, I saw the Roots, hip-hop band The Roots, which I love those guys. They're probably my favorite music. I think if I had to pick a favorite band, they would definitely be top 3, I think. And definitely my favorite hip-hop band of all time. I've seen those guys probably almost 10 times now. And kill it every time. So, love the Roots. Good concerts going on this summer. So it's been great. Colin Powell just got hired to check ID at concerts. Speaking of concerts, my man Colin is the one there checking you out. Good on you, Colin. Working at venues like that, it's a good opportunity. You can start at the door, and then you can work your way up, trying to get into a position working in a bar. Right? Same concept as fucking Beach Boys. I'm a surfer and I don't like Beach Boys. We got the oldies on here tonight. But what was I saying there, Colin? Oh, that the concert companies and stuff, they're similar to a restaurant or an establishment where if you start in another position, if you get in, kick some ass and show that you're a good employee, then you'll have a lot of opportunity to move up in other positions. So, oh, and you're also bar backing. Perfect, Colin. You're half a step away from being a bartender, buddy. You are right there. Oh, Jersey. Name is Gail. Appreciate the advice. Absolutely, Gail. No problem. Ask away. Keep coming back. Hang tight. Watch this one. There's always lots of good stuff on here, Gail. Shake said he went to some bad karaoke the other night. Wasn't bad at all. Someone sang, "Make a man out of you." Nice. What's your favorite, not just Shake, anybody out there, what's your favorite karaoke song? Me and the missus do a pretty mean Africa Toto cover. It's pretty badass, I gotta say. I've been known to get down on some Billy Idol. What else have I done? There's some other random shit. I got Travis Tritt, Bonnie and Clyde. It's like a country song, but it's just fun to sing. Yeah, I don't really listen to a lot of country or anything, but I don't know, I like that song. Deja, what do you think about a Bahama Mama with just Malibu, pineapple, orange juice, grenadine, and Sprite? Well, that would work. I mean, all those, I think, what's the, like, because I know the one that I need, that's once I get back into shooting some regular videos, the topicals. The tropicals is a genre of videos that I really are way overdue for me to do. And so I'm going to redo all those, because the one that I have right now for the Bahama Mama is a pretty dirty dive bar version of that. So it's a huge kick in the nuts to the original recipe, if I remember correctly. But that's also one of the kind of real fruity ones, so it might not be that far off. So this said, what did you have, Deja? You had Malibu, and then OPG, orange pineapple grenadine. So you got, what's this one say? This one says rum, Malibu, grenadine, orange juice, pineapple. There you go. Is that the original recipe? That one? That all the OPG drinks that we taught at the bartending school, are they actually all based off the Bahama Mama? That could be the case. I wouldn't be surprised. I think you're right. I think that's Pretty spot on, Deja. Coconut, banana liqueur. You just don't have the banana liqueur in there is all. Pineapple, OG, lemon lime soda. Yeah. Fucking roll with it, girl. I think that'll work. Anybody who asks for Bahama Mama gets that, they will be stoked. The banana liqueur stuff is just like, that's terrible. That was a terrible invention. Whoever invented that. So many people have been hung over and on their deathbed from that stuff, guarantee you. Let's see. I think I'll check out the karaoke bar. Sounds fun and chill. All about a cocktail. What's up? Bella Queen started a bartending course 2 weeks ago. Plan a cruise. Oh, plan to join the cruise line. My gosh, I find it very challenging. Are you talking about the course, Bella Queen? Don't worry about it. Get through it. Get it done. You're already in there now, so just take it for the practice that you're getting. Don't worry about killing yourself and memorizing a bunch of drinks. Just enough to pass the damn thing. And I would be really surprised that if they would ever fail somebody. I know some of them will threaten to do so, but you know, hey, whatever. So just work on writing them down, repetition. That's the best way to remember stuff. If you need to do rote memorization of things from a course like that. And no, like what I would do, Bella, if you're looking at cruise lines, I'm just totally making this up. Can you go on and look at what their menus are? Let's see, cruise ship menus. So you can go to Carnival. Okay, so I just looked up cruise ship menus on Google, and the first thing that came up was Carnival dining room, full course meals, right? Okay, so let's see if they have Pizza Pirate, Guy's Burger Joint. What the fuck is this shit? Let me see if we can find. I'm trying to find a menu. Dinner menu included. Let's see, sail from, no, let's see, I kind of want to see more dining. Let's see if we can find, I'm trying to find a drink menu, cocktail menu. Let's see if you can kind of look up what kind of stuff you would be making on these cruises, right? So explore dining, let's see what we got here. Hang tight, if you guys are asking questions, we will get to them. I'm just trying a little experiment here. I'm gonna see if I could try to find something for Bella Queen here. All right, I don't know. This is trying to sell me cruises. I don't want to buy a cruise. Let's try another one. Let's see if we can find something else. Cruise. How about this? Let's go cruise ship drink menu. How about that one? And see if Google can find it for us. There you go, Carnival Cruise Line bar drink menu. Looks like this was Cruise Critic. Okay, so what do we got here? Martinis, soft drinks, frozen favorites. So they got a pretty substantial drink menu. Let's check it out. These are a bunch of like blended non-alcoholic things. So they got like a blended mocha thing, daiquiris, hurricanes, which those are kind of traditional tropical drinks. We got beer, smoothies for the kids, which is just a bunch of fruit martinis. So you get chocolatini, appletini, and then some other stuff like a Cosmo. So nothing too crazy. They have some classics like Margarita Mojito, Bahama Mama Mai Tai. Where they got the Bahama Mama here? Rum, Malibu, Granny, Pineapple, Orange, Grand. See, there you go, Deja. They don't even have the banana in this one either. That's at Carnival Cruises. So you're serving the Carnival Cruise version technically, girl. Champagnes and wines. See, it's nothing too crazy. I mean, that's totally doable. Totally doable. Let's see what this dude, what else this guy got on here. You have another one? What is this? Beers, frozen favorites. Oh, it's the same one. Okay. So that doesn't look bad. Totally easy. You nail that, Bella Queen. Piece of cake. Piece of cake. Deja loves karaoke, but no one wants to do it with me. I like doing Return of the Mac. Return of the Mac. Nice. That's a good song. That's a good one. Let's see here. I don't really like doing karaoke. I just went because I was invited. Gorillas are fun. Shake gets down on some gorillas. I like it. Jenny Clementine Mello. I want to start hosting family gatherings to start getting some experience. What are some main spirits you think I should take to start with? So that's a good question, Jenny, and this kind of bleeds into the party planning, private bartender thing as well. The best thing to start with is what you and or your friends or family that are coming over want to drink. So if you guys all like to drink whiskey and tequila, don't get vodka and rum, right? And you can have a basic selection, one bottle of each of the main types. So you could have a rum, a vodka, a tequila, a whiskey or a bourbon or something if you want, maybe a gin, and then just get like one or two mixers for each of those. So get like a juice of some sort, or just a basic mixer that you can make with that. Soda water, Sprite or Coke goes a long way for all those different types of stuff. Orange juice, cranberry juice, pineapple juice. And then, you can see if there are particular cocktails that they like, right? Which would be cool because then you can actually practice like certain cocktails. Then you can just get that stuff ahead of time. But don't worry about building like a huge bar in your house, especially if you're just trying to get some experience, because building out a big bar like that in your house is very expensive. Like all the booze that I have in my house bar for filming all this stuff, I spend a lot of money on all that shit. So it can be expensive to stock a home bar. Once you have it built, if you do that, then it's, you kind of just replace stuff as it runs out. But the first time when you go buy a bunch of bottles, it's really expensive. So just start with the basics and maybe a couple of completely built, snazzy cocktails, or just basic stuff, just start with some basics. That's what I say. Let's see, that was Gail's gonna check out some karaoke bars. Definitely would be fun. Whiskey, bourbon, vodka, gin, and a wine or champagne, depending on what your family likes. Yeah, that's a good one too. Deja, great. Just trying to cut costs for my client. Wait. The Bahama one, gotcha. I was like, what was the original question, Deja? I forgot. Yeah. Make that one simple, Deja, I would say. Oh, great. Willing to start as a barback. Gail, yep, absolutely. You should totally be willing to start in any position, really, is my best advice to people that are getting started, because, you can move up once you're hired at a place. Dead Mouse Fanatic 1. I have a lot to learn about mixed drinks. Not going to lie, I'm scared after getting hired on the Las Vegas Strip. You know what though? Like, there's a lot of bars on the Vegas Strip even that are just pretty basic. They're real simple. Even some of the little side bars. Let me think. There's still, the complexity of the drinks that you're making will depend on where you work. And a lot of times on the Vegas Strip, it's not like it's complexity, it's the volume that's gonna get you. Like if you're working at a busy place, especially if it's like late night crazy drinking scene, it's still the same thing where it's mostly just like beers and shots and basic cocktails. It's just that you're doing so much volume that's where you're gonna spend most of your energy. The stuff where you're gonna have really meticulous menus and cocktail building requirements is if you work in a very like crafty place, like a real handcrafted bar or establishment. That's where they're going to be super meticulous about the ingredients and the amounts, and using everything like handmade or from scratch. So you're going to be not only making sure that your bar is all stocked, which you're going to probably have duties to like make all the syrups and extractions and tinctures or whatever it is that you're using in the cocktails. But just your general average like bar, especially if it's just like a, not like a crazy pool party bar, but just like a basic hotel poolside bar, you know, where you just swim up and kind of sit there and have drinks with the family from Nebraska. Like most of your bartending at that type of establishment in that type of situation is going to be pretty basic. So I wouldn't worry too much about it, Dead Mouse Fanatic, unless you got hired at like some super banging slamming club. And even then, it's like I said, the drinks themselves, because again, those are usually full of young people, which usually have a fairly simple menu that they usually order from in their head, right? They don't know a bunch of crazy cocktails, and they're not sticklers about how a drink should be made because they've been drinking it for 20 or 30 years or whatever. So it's you know, you have basic self-explanatory two-part vodka soda, rum and coke, gin and tonic type things, shots, tequila, beers, and pour me a glass of wine. But you're just doing it in high volumes or in just the little sidebars. It's not even that busy. So it's there's only actually a few kind of types of places in Vegas. I would hypothesize that you're gonna get your ass handed to you from volume or a really meticulous cocktail creation side. So I think most of them, it's just like any other town. It just has a notoriety. I think honestly one of the most daunting markets to go into to be a bartender would be New York City for me, or an international one. Like if I went to London, because you're not really familiar with the norms of the culture and other European travelers. So I think at Vegas you'll be, I don't know, I have complete faith in you, my friend. I think you will do all right. Yeah, see, Miss Jersey Gail, right? Gail agrees that Vegas wouldn't be too rough for a beginner. There's so many spots, and especially if you're brand new, it's not impossible, but unless you know somebody or you just get kind of lucky, you're probably not gonna start out in just some like insane slamming club as your first gig. So you're gonna have to work up to it anyway. Jenny Clementine Melly, you are very welcome. Absolutely, Shake. We believe in you, Dead Mouse Fanatic 1. And there's a nice little link. Thank you, Shake. Don't get overwhelmed trying to remember multiple drinks. That's a little trick there. Watch that video for sure. Bella Queen, you're very welcome. And a little reminder, thank you from Shake, that if you miss these streams, these do come up and they are posted on the channel, and you can watch them afterwards. You can always send questions whenever. Make sure you follow us on all the social media stuff at Bartending Pro. Jenny Clementine Mello, most of all my family are in 2 Corona, or wait, okay. Most all my family are in 2 Corona beers and stuff. Or are into Corona beers and stuff, but am about to take them to a whole new level. There you go, Jenny, I like it. I'll definitely keep you guys posted. Thanks again, you are very welcome. Check out that one right below it, Jenny, the 15 most popular drinks. And that, again, is a list that could be popular at a place you work, or it could not be that popular. But those are definitely ones that are fairly common, that if you're a bartender for any, length of time beyond like a year or two, you're gonna have to know those for sure. Good to know them right off the bat. But it also talks about the drinks that you're gonna be making that are popular will depend upon where you're at. I love the comments on that video that I get all the time, because people are so mad that I don't just get straight to the drinks and straight to the recipes, that I'm trying to like educate you guys about why there is no most common drink list, because it depends where you work. There is no like top 10. I mean, you can maybe by aggregated average across all bars come up with the 10 most popular drinks, but the thing is where you work, you might not see any of those. So it always depends on where you're at. And another link there from Barback to Bartender, how to move up, is another good one for You, my man. Who was that? Dead Mouse? Who's been bar backing? Or no, it was back here. Colin. Good one. Check that one out, buddy. Cool, man. All right, what else we got here? Lost my spot. Bartending Pro. Didn't you start at a pool bar? I did not. If I said that, then I lied. No, I don't think I ever said that. Did I? I did not start at a pool bar. I have actually not ever worked at a pool bar. I've talked to pool bartenders many times, but no, I myself had not. I started at a bar across the street from the beach. Maybe that's what you're thinking. I worked at a beachfront bar, not a pool front bar. I watched so many fantastic sunsets over the 7-8 years I was there. It was literally right on the beach in North County, San Diego. I was gonna start a calendar of all the sunsets throughout the year by just walking right out front right out front of my bar and taking a shot, and then shot like picture, not shot, and making a calendar from it because it was a sweet place to work. Anyway, Timothy Cherry, what are some of your main pet peeves for working a bar? Oh man. So the biggest one is probably just derelict coworkers. They're just massively dysfunctional alcoholics and drug addicts, and the rampant dysfunction that comes with those types of addictions is super annoying. I don't even know if I would call it annoying, but it was. The problem is when somebody, like, especially if you're in a place that's busy, even if you're not in a place, any place, but if you have someone that's not pulling their weight, then that means everybody else has to pull their weight. And so if you work in a place, which if you do this job long enough, you will definitely see this. Sometimes you'll just have coworkers that are just massive problem drinkers, and they're fine. Or maybe they show up, they're such problem alcoholics that they're angry until they have that first drink or two at work, and then they're cool, but then they keep drinking, and then all of a sudden they go past that and then they're wasted. And some bars, they'll catch this and nip this in the bud, but some places are just, they aren't real strict on this, and people are just drinking. And if you really want to, it's at your fingertips so people can drink, and they figure out how to drink all the time. So dysfunctional coworkers, the either overbearing, like micromanagement ownership, or the non-existent management ownership, kind of those extreme ends, where if they're micromanaging and they're on top of your ass, that sucks. And if they're not there and they're not overseeing anything, then it's kind of the patients running the asylum and they're not dealing with problems that should be dealt with because they're not there. That can be a pain in the ass. Another huge one is just babysitting adult alcoholic children all the time. Gets really fucking annoying. For me, that was probably actually the biggest one. Derelict coworkers and just like babysitting adult children. That one can get old, but it comes with the territory, and that's just stuff you're gonna have to deal with. Those are probably my main ones, but it just depends on the place that you work. I always liked most of my coworkers, other than when the ones that would partied too much at work. But all my crew was always awesome. Everybody I worked with, for the most part, I don't have a whole lot of problems over my years. I worked at pretty rad places. Tom Swart, location. Absolutely, man. I don't know what you're talking about, but that's key to life for sure. In any business. Colin Powell. I'll have to watch a bar back to bartender video and try to learn how to move up for sure, man. Watch that. I also go to as many music events as I can for sure, brother. It's good for the soul. As we got some fucking goddamn Stevie Wonder. Love me some Stevie. Drinking on the Job. There's another one. There's a classic video, Drinking on the Job, because that one Happens all the time. Colin Pal, yep, yes, at a venue with shows a week. Nice job. Every week. Sweet. That's a great place to work. There was this bar in San Diego that I was trying to get into for a while. It's called Belly Up, and it's a really cool small venue, but they get a lot of really big names. Actually, they're pretty good still. They used to actually have 20 to 10 years ago, they had a different promoter person. I don't know I don't know what the person is that books the acts that come in. The music promoter. I don't know. Anyway, this girl was really well connected in the industry. She actually ended up getting swooped up by the House of Blues when they moved into downtown San Diego about, I don't know, 10 or so years ago, 12 years ago, whatever. And anyway, when she was working at the Belly Up, she used to book really good shows, like crazy good shows. You'd see these people and there would be, I don't know how many people they can fit in there. Less than 500, I would think, And so you're seeing these just insane acts in a really small venue. Anyway, I tried to get a job there because it would have been cool because you're, at work and you get to see all these cool acts. Anyway, cool places to work, Colin. I agree. Keep on with it. Dead Mouse Fanatic, cheers. Thank you again for everything. You are very welcome, Dead Mouse Fanatic. Cheers to you, my friend. Remember, those of you hanging out, watching along, you can ask questions. No format for this, just open Q&A. We don't have to talk about bartending, but we usually do. These are always reposted on the channel after the fact, so you can always go back and rewatch these. Sunjian, am I saying that right? Sunjian 1314. I bounce at a bar with barback responsibilities that is allowed to drink on the job. What is your pet peeve with bouncers and barbacks? The bouncers, because, I was always in the bar and they were always kind of out front, or, they would sort of be in the vicinity, but I was never worked really closely with them during my shift. It was always kind of like a high five on the way in, and at the end, high five. Did you see that crazy drunk bitch that you had to throw out, kind of a thing, or whatever, type stuff. So I think as long as bouncers are not doing shit they're not supposed to, like letting in underage kids or, the standard do your job stuff, don't really have a whole lot of complaints about bouncers. Barbacks, if you're having to tell them everything, that's kind of the point of a barback, is to try to get to the point where you can anticipate what your bartenders need and you can get it for them before they need it or before they have to ask you for it. So as a barback, one of the things that you want to learn to do, and obviously you're asking for your job. So as like a bouncer, just do your job. Like, don't let people in you shouldn't. If someone's being a nuisance, then throw them out of there. Don't belittle people unnecessarily, because sometimes people are just having a bad day. Even if they're an asshole, people are just having a bad day. So just try to be cool as much as you can when you can. With the barback stuff, learn the flow of the bar. So learn what they run out of the most, where their main bottlenecks are for when they get busy, and make sure that if they're always running out of ice, that they always have ice. If they're always running out of a certain type of beer or booze or a mixer or some shit, that you see it and know that they're gonna run low, and you get it before they run out, so that they don't have to ask you for when you're doing your job. The other one is make sure you're focused on the bar. I've had barbacks where kind of on slow times, they'll float out into the rest of the establishment, and then they'll start talking with their employee friends, and in the meantime it's getting busy downstairs and I'm starting to need something, and he's out upstairs hitting on the hostess at the front door or whatever. So just being present, being aware. Not a whole lot of pet peeves with the barbacks, but going as far as you can to get involved with the bar is always good. on either one of those jobs, but especially as a barback, you know, ask them to teach you stuff. Befriend your bartenders. Get to know them, see what they can teach you. You know, like, hey, teach me that drink. What was that drink? You know, can I pour something? And sometimes where you work, it's totally not cool. Some places where you work, they'll encourage it. Like at our bar, we had our barbacks capable of pouring drinks. You know, we would teach them a couple of the basics on like how to open the beers and pour a wine and how to ring that shit up on the computer. You know, basic vodka soda, gin and tonic, rum and coke type drinks, so that when we got really busy, they could kind of jump in and grab people, and they could ring through a couple of transactions to help us kind of get in front of the rush. So ask, be curious, ask them to teach you stuff. Squeaky wheel gets the grease. So I'm assuming if you're here, you're interested in being a bartender. So the thing with this job, this industry, or any job or any industry, from my opinion, the best way to get to the job that you want is to let the people who can give you that job know that you want it. So like, make sure the owners and the managers know that your intention is to become a barback or the fucking CEO, whatever, you know, whatever your goal is. Make sure that the people that can get you there know that you're trying to get there, so that if and when it comes up, it'll provide the opportunity and your name will be on a short list, hopefully. Because if you want to be let's say, for example, you want to be a bartender, and you've been killing it as a bouncer and a barback, but you've never said anything to any of your coworkers or any of the bartenders and the managers that you want to be a bartender. If they don't know, then they're gonna have to come to it on their own, you know, realization that, hey, this guy would be a good bartender, like maybe we should put him in there. And usually the barbacks are kind of first up in terms of where people are thinking about they're gonna pull or promote people up into bartenders from. But you can go, you know, you can be proactive about letting the ownership and management know your intentions, which I think you should always do. Don't annoy them, but just let them know on a you know, regular, every few months or so, just like, hey, what's going on in the bar? How they doing in there? And you'll know, you'll see, you'll be able to feel it out, and when it's appropriate, just make sure they don't forget about you wanting to get in the bar. All right. Any good stories from kicking someone out? So Sun Jian said, I'm only going to kick out one person for fighting. 10 months working. Outside of people being too drunk, my bar is responsible drinking culture. That's nice. That's very nice. Although that can also sometimes create boring bouncer shifts. We're just kind of standing out there and you're kind of like, kind of wish somebody would get kicked out so I can do something. But yeah, uneventful is better than any, you know, too much crazy shit going down. Sean Suminu, am I saying that right? Hey, been training in CT at a sports bar, and I've seen hours of your vids. Very helpful. My first actual day is Thursday. Any tips for creating regulars and a closer bond, how to talk to customers? Man, did I not shoot that fucking video yet? I thought I had. I might have talked about it kind of in a roundabout way and a bunch of stuff. But so Sean, the best way to build regulars is to just become friends with them. So get to know their name, get to know their story about who they are, where they work, what they're interested in. You know, are they married? Do they have kids? Learn as much as you can about them. Just befriend them and be friendly with them. And then just being fun and energetic and outgoing. Be happy to see them when they come in. Tell them that you appreciate them all the time. It's like, hey, I appreciate you, man. Thank you for coming in, or woo, man, you know, whatever it is, whoever they are. But just getting to know them and building a bond, building like a friendship, your little bar of friendships. And that's really kind of the best thing that you can do, from my opinion, is just being fun and outgoing and personable. So be willing to share details about yourself, just within reason, being obviously, you don't have to tell them your life story, or give intimate details about your life's stories if you don't want to. But just trying to build friends, make friends with them. That's kind of all there is to it. I know that if you're just starting out, one of the things that you should do, Sean, is that when you're getting trained, to ask the current bartenders to introduce you to all the good locals. Like, make sure, because that's one of those things that bars don't usually do, that I've seen. Bartenders themselves will be savvy to it, but it's not like within the protocol of the bar to say, hey, make sure when you're training him to introduce him all to all the locals. It's kind of just an assumed thing that you'll kind of figure it out someday. So I would say ask every bartender that you're training with, like, hey, as we're going through the shifts, the days, or whatever it is, if there's good locals, like, introduce me to all the locals and let me know who the most loyal and most regular locals are, because that'll go a long way to getting you into, because most of these people that are locals and your regulars are friends with each other at the bar. Like, they come to the bar, it's the cheers scene where the people that come there are friends with each other because they hang out at that bar, and then they're friends with all the bartenders because they're there all the time. So it's just connecting all those dots. So yeah, I would say that's the other thing, Sean, is make sure you ask them to introduce you to all the locals. Okay, cool. For all the can't talk right now. For all those newly hired at bars who can mingle. Oh, I think, is that the dating your coworkers link? Thank you, Shake. That's a fun one. Talk about the worst song for karaoke. What a long rest. Oh, wait. Oh, did I miss something? What are you talking about? Shake. I missed it up there earlier or something. Okay, let's see here. Where are we at? And remember, those of you guys hanging out watching, if you have a question up, hang tight. I will get to it. We're about 15 minutes from the end of the hour, so if you're watching and you want to get a question in, make sure you throw it up now. But any questions, I will get to it. Right, Sunjin 1314. I only had to kick out. Oh, we already got that one. Gotcha. It's responsible drinking culture. Yeah, it's boring. No, boring's safe, and you don't need a chair into the head or anything like that in a boring bar, so that's good. Also allowed to drink during my shift, so that cures the boredom. Definitely helps, for sure. Simino. Sorry, Shake, I'm missing it. I'm missing the reference, my man. I'm slow on the uptake. Oh, Bohemian Rhapsody. Oh, gotcha. I see what you're saying. Anybody sing? Do people sing that song in karaoke? Maybe you get like 2 or 3 of you up there. It's a brave one to tackle in a karaoke bar by yourself, I would have to admit. I'm missing a lot of... Oh. Gail says, I missed a lot of AM work. It can be more boring than my job. Huh. Yeah, well, boring's not that fun. And remember, if you guys start working at a place, right? You get in here, you get a job. When you start at a place, if you're not super stoked, it's not like you have to stay there forever. It's not like you have to, because I know what'll happen is you'll get in, you start working, and a lot of times you have this idea in my head, it's like, okay, I got to get 2 years of experience on average, to kind of get over that first wall of what most bars will want for experience. And so you think, you get this job, and you're like, oh, fuck, man, I hate this place. I got to be here for 2 years. That's not true. Once you get in there and you're working, you got a job, you got experience, put that on your resume, you're now a working bartender. Doesn't mean you have to stop looking for a job. Just keep going, keep looking, keep shopping yourself around until you find a better spot, right? And I think you should do that no matter where you're at in your bartending career until you get to, you know, what would be quote unquote your perfect bar situation. Don't ever rest on your laurels about where you're at. True with any job, but this one too, because it's so easy to kind of flip up the chain into better ones. And who knows, maybe you would have missed an opportunity because you were sitting, you know, thinking that you're like, shit, I'm only 3 months in, I got to be here for for a year or more, instead of just working that job and in the meantime going out dropping resumes, and maybe you would have found something. So keep knocking on the doors, and if you're in a boring spot, then just keep knocking on doors, keep going. Sun Jin 1314, what's your job? I currently work full-time as a marketing manager for a company up here in the Northwest, up in Oregon. I moved into like full-time marketing stuff and digital media and videos and doing all that stuff up here. So no longer, I technically retired from the bartending world. However, I will keep making these videos for a while because I want to have a stated goal of trying to get this channel to 100,000 subscribers, just because it'll look cool on my resume. And I want the cool little YouTube thing that hopefully they still send you. And there's still a lot of stuff, like my to-shoot list is super long. And it's not like, there's like trends in cocktails that kind of come and go, but the basic fundamentals of what it is to be a bartender doesn't change. So it doesn't negate my ability to be able to offer value to you guys. You know, I could answer these questions, probably not when I'm super old, but this stuff will be relevant for a long, long time. Anyway, so yeah, my job beyond this, Sunjin, is I've kind of shifted gears into another industry and into just something that will challenge me, just something a little more where I'm at in my life now. You know, I worked from 22 to 42 basically as a bartender, so I had a good long run, but it's one of those things where for me it wasn't going to be a forever career choice. I'll always have that experience too, by the way. I can always go back to that. You know, like God forbid anything ever happens and fucking my job or the industry I work in implodes. Bartending is a great skill set that can always keep you alive, that you can always find a job somewhere. I feel like, you know, especially if you've got some experience and you understand it, you'll always be able to find something that, you know, so it's a great skill set to be able to keep yourself alive. It's like being, you know, a construction carpenter type person. That's a type of job where you can always go work for somebody doing something, right? So, oh, Gail says like since she loves to travel. Yeah, gotcha. Sean Simone, Simonu, I think is that right? You're very welcome. I did it twice when I was there in a group of 4. Oh wow. Sonia says, what are you drinking? Drinking a little micro on tap here. We got a kegerator at work. My job is pretty cool. We collaborate with a lot of micros here in town. So we got a lot of cool connections, and we have 3 or 4 that like to give us little pony kegs on the regular for our little kegerator. So we're pretty spoiled. Always got a little something to sip on. But yeah, I think this is just a local micro IPA, a little hazy IPA, I believe. So there you go. That's what I'm sipping on tonight. I'm on some shakes on some Blackheart spiced rum and cherry coke. You love that, Shake. You love that combo. You're getting that one all the time. Sunjin 1314. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention that I used your resume guide to get a bouncer gig to get into the industry, and it worked. I've been working in the industry ever since. Right on. Yeah, I mean, those templates are relevant for not just bartending. You could use that for any job in the service industry for sure. And you could probably use it in a couple other industries, like if you wanted to go into liquor sales repping, which can be a pretty good gig. You could probably use those. I don't know, like if you wanted to work at like a winery or a distillery, anything in this industry, those would work pretty well for you, I think. And anything related to drinks there. All right, let's do last call for questions, y'all. Throw it out now or forever hold your questions until next week. Sun Janet says, it's amazing how much money I save not blowing it at the bars on the weekend. Yeah, it's kind of a scary thing if you look at, put it all on your credit cards for a month and track how much you spend on shit. Make sure you can pay it off at the end of the month, right? It's the trick to credit cards, everybody. Don't put anything on it you can't pay off at the end of the month or within 3 months. That's my rule. If I can't pay this off in 3 months, I'm not putting it on my card because you'll fuck your shit all up. Anyway, yeah, like if you have a bar or like if you go to Starbucks every day or like if you eat out at lunch at work or something, like put it on your card and add it up how much you spend, and it's like, holy crap. That's why in my early days when I was working as a bartender, I worked at a really busy place and I made a lot of money, but I never saved any money because you get off work and you have $200, $300, $400 in your pocket or something as like a young man in your 20s, and you go party with all your friends that are also all in the industry and they have $200, $300 in their pocket, and you all go out and just rage and buy each other shots and buy beautiful people around you shots, and you're just like, you think you have more money than you do because you have this big wad of cash in your pocket. It's actually dangerous that you have constant cash in this industry because it takes self-discipline to not go do that after your shift every night and go home and like put it in the bank or stuff it in your mattress. So a lot of fun, but yeah, spent a lot of money back in the day that I wish I would have had back because it is expensive going out. Colin Powell might get, I will use your advice with my next bar shift. Oh, nice. Do it, buddy. Oh, we might get busy soon. Gotcha. I was like, wait, what was that? We'll use your advice when we get to the next bar shift. Yeah, we have a standing calm on a busy Friday night for sure. Check out that video, Colin. Blazing Pegasus. I like that. Is that right? Blazing Pegasus? That's what it looks like. I've been getting experience bartending from my friends, and I love it. I've been dubbed the god of alcohol. Nice. Most dry drinks taste like hatred to me. What's the best way to get used to drier drinks? If you're not drinking them, you don't have to. I would say that if you're not going to drink them, then don't worry about it. It's something that you can know. There's a difference between knowing what a drink should taste like from the recipe and enjoying it yourself. There's a lot of drinks that I know what they're supposed to taste like. It doesn't mean I enjoy them personally. I just want to, make sure that I'm making it properly. But at the same time, your taste buds will usually adapt to what you're eating, if I remember that correctly, right? Like think about the first time you ever had a beer when you were a kid. No, hopefully you're not a kid. Let me retract that statement. First time you had a beer, hopefully as an adult of age. But if you had it maybe a little bit before then, it might have tasted like shit. I remember the first time I had a beer, I thought it was the most disgusting tasting thing I've ever had. Granted, it was really cheap shit, American lager beer, but I could drink that same beer today on a hot day when I'm down at like the beach or the pool or something, and it's fucking delicious. So your taste buds kind of adjust to stuff. So if you really wanted to try to get a palate for that stuff, Blazing Pegasus, is just try to drink it more. But if you don't have any intention of drinking it more or often or ever, I just wouldn't worry about it. So I would just make them for your friends and try a little, just dip a toothpick or a straw in there just to try a little bit, and that's it. Yeah, almost there. Last call. Throw them out now. Yeah, my keyword. Oh yeah, no worries, Colin. Same time next week. Yes, sir. So we'll do these again next Tuesday. 7 p.m., same channel. 7 p.m., that's Pacific time. 8 Mountain, 9 Central, 10 Eastern, every Tuesday night on this channel. Last question, Sunjian1340 says, but what's your opinion on airport bars? Airport bars are great because people are coming in and they're either trying to slam a shot and a beer before they get on their flight, or they have a long layover and they're hanging out drinking, or they want to get some food, so they're eating and drinking. I've seen some airport bars that are pretty sleepy and probably not a whole lot of action, but I think all in all, generally most airport bars that I've seen are, pretty busy. So it's a pretty good scene. I would think the nature of where they are and how those are set up, they're probably pretty strict. I mean, most of the airport bars I've been to, they're very tight on their pours. So they're using jiggers or, pour counters on the bottles. So you're not going to get a good pour there. So, and you're going to overpay for what would be a proper pour. Some people would say a short pour. But good experience, get in there, you can get some good volume going. So I would definitely recommend airport bars. And strangely not super competitive, I think, for a lot of people trying to get into the scene. So yeah, she's correct. Seth Marchese. I've learned psychology is an important variable in this industry. If you're willing to grow, it'll advance your previous skill sets more. Cheers. Absolutely, Seth. And that's why I reference a lot of psychological triggers and social norms, a lot of psychology tricks in the Getting the Job series that I did, specifically the 4-part mini series on how to get a job with no experience. There's the last video talks about the interview process, and there's a lot of psychology stuff that you can put into that just helps with rapport building, and psychology is definitely a cool tool that should be used and just even on a cursory level sort of addressed or read about on occasion if you're a bartender. I think it would definitely help your skill set. And that's where I talking about, this is more of a people skill job, soft skills, than the actual nuts and bolts of pouring drinks. It's definitely a lot more to do with the interaction with the people around you. So therefore means there's psychological factors involved. Toto, hold the line. Macon Lima, I do not speak Portuguese. Hello from Brazil. Thank you for stopping in. Although, Macon, this is the end of the show. So watch this when this posts at the end of this, and come back next week. So we'll be here same time next Tuesday. Thank you all for coming in. This has been another edition of Making You a Bartending Pro. My name's Jason. My man Shake here moderating. Thank you very much, Shake. Cheers. Cheers, everybody, for coming in. Remember, the best time to find a bartending job is right now. Don't wait. You're never going to be, in your own mind, ready enough. So remember that I've done this very successfully for, over a period of 20 years, in the bar for about 15 years during that time. And when I started, I didn't know how to drink. I definitely knew how to drink. I didn't know how to pour a drink. I didn't know any drink recipes. And I ended up working my way up to become the top bartender in the place that I started, bar manager, top bartender and trainer at every bar that I worked at. I worked in every type of bar: fine dining, nightclub, craft, restaurant, dive bar style. So my point is that you don't need to over prepare or get to a point where you think you're ready before you start, because in your mind, you're never going to be ready. And there's just a certain amount of this that you can't really figure out until you just jump in the pool. So with that in mind, it's a lot easier than you think. I promise this is a whole hell of a lot easier than it seems from the outside, and is a lot of fun. So get out there, kick some ass, drop some resumes, follow up, keep following up until you find a job. Until then, I'll see you next time. Thank you all for coming out. Love y'all. You guys have a good week. Thanks again, Shake. Take it easy. Cheers, you guys.